It happens to be Fairbrook's 60th birthday. Do any of you know anybody who's 60 years old? Yeah. A lot of people know people who are 60 years old. Okay, back to zero. Back to zero. 1, 2, and 3. We should be at 0. We know a lot of people who are 60 years old, and Fairbrook is 60 years old. It actually began in 1959. Thank you, Mrs. Case. So in 1959, our school was opened, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. We're going to watch a slideshow about it. And in between each 10 years, you guys are going to see something from your teachers that helps people remember what happened in that era. So in 1959, Fairbrook opened its doors on January the 29th. The school was located at what was called not North Fairfield Road, but Bellbrook Fairfield Road. And it was given the name Fairbrook. It received half of its name from being located close to Bellbrook, and the other part of its name because it was located on something called Fairfield Road. It housed 1st through 5th grade, just like we do now. And Fairbrook's first principal was Mr. Henry Stovall. Other things that were going on at that time, we need to move the slide along because there's some pictures. Other things that were going on at that time was our president was Dwight D. Eisenhower. Alaska and Hawaii became states. There was the beginning of, how many of you have Mr. Potato Head? Raise your hand if you have a Mr. Potato Head at some point. Mr. Potato Head came out that year. The hula hoop, pogo sticks, and Barbie doll were the popular toys at that time. In addition, people wore something called poodle skirts. Have any of you seen poodle skirts around here today? Yeah, some of our teachers have those on. The men wore leather jackets, and jeans were also really popular items. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to see something from 1959. Mr. Henry Stovall remained the president, or principal, not president. He remained the principal through the 1960s. 11 classrooms were added to Fairbrook at that time, so it must have been really small when it first started, and then they had to add 11 classrooms. It became a 6th grade and through kindergarten, so all the way from kindergarten through 6th grade. Other things that happened in the United States during the 1960s, John F. Kennedy and Lyndon B. Johnson, Richard Nixon served as our presidents. The Vietnam War and Civil Rights Movement was going on, and Martin Luther King Jr. gave his famous speech, which I know all of you have heard and read about, the I Have a Dream speech. The Beatles were a popular man. Mini skirts, leather boots, bright patterns were the popular clothing styles, and the popular toys. How many of you have a G.I. Joe action figure? A few of you do, okay. And Barbie dolls were really super popular. At the very end of the 1960s, we actually, for the first time, put a man on the moon. That was the first time that happened, was in 1969. And guess what? That's when the principal was born. I was born in 1969. Grade to show you something from the 1960s. pictures so you can see those. In the 1970s, Mr. Henry Stonewall was principal until 1972, followed by Mr. Earl Mercer until 1978, and then Mr. Stephen Huff became the principal. Other things that happened in the United States at that time, and you're going to see some pictures here. We see Miss Piggy visiting. We had the mayor of Beaver Creek, Santa Claus, and radio DJ Dr. Creep came to visit. Other things that were happening in the United States at that time, Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter served as president during the 1970s. You guys got to be at a 0 inch to hear it all. Come on. The first commercial airplane flight occurred, and people now had a much faster way to travel. How many of you have flown on an airplane before? Okay. Back when I was a little girl, that was brand new. So right when I was your age, that was really pretty new. Okay? Rock and roll became an extremely popular type of music. Raggedy Ann and Andy dolls, Hot Wheels cars, and Barbie dolls were the popular toys. Some of the clothing you might see and get to see here in a few minutes. 0 in. I'll wait. Some of the clothes that you might get to see: bell-bottom pants, leisure suits, platform shoes, and permanents were popular for your hair as the fashion items of the 1970s. So come on in, second grade, and show us what the 1970s looked like. Now, a lot of you may know something about the 1980s because it is my bet that some of your parents grew up in the 1980s. A lot of them did. Okay, so let's listen about what they grew up with. I'll wait. I want everybody to be able to. Okay, in the 1980s, Mr. Stephen Huff remained the principal. All the way through the 80s, Fairbrook received its first computers for students and for staff. The 1980s were a time of new beginnings for things at Fairbrook, including the first field day, but at that point it was called the Fairbrook Olympics. The Santa shop, or Christmas shop as we have every year, our holiday shop, and Family Fun Night began in the 1980s. Other things that were going on in our world at that time: Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, and George Bush were the presidents in the 80s. Microwaves and computers entered many American households. The Atari gaming system, which is kind of like what you guys use now, but much more, you guys have it, it's much better now. My Little Pony, Mr. Potato Head, Legos, and Cabbage Patch dolls were popular items. 1, 2, 3. Now, some of you may not know what to call some of the clothes that we wore in the 1980s, so I'm going to fill you in. Leg warmers, acid wash denim, jelly shoes, bright neon colors, shoulder pads, and big hair were the fashion trends. David Bowie, Bruce Springsteen, Journey, REO Speedwagon were all popular music back then. So third grade is going to show us what the 1980s looked like. 2, 3. We're ready for the 1990s. Now, some of you, your parents may have been born in the 1990s too. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Mr. Stephen Huff was the principal until 1991 when Mrs. Linda Beaver took over. Fairbrook got all new windows and our playground equipment that we currently have and we play on today. In 1996 and 1997, Fairbrook received the Blue Ribbon School of Excellence Award. This honored Fairbrook's strong leadership, high-quality teaching methods, challenging and engaging curriculum that helps students achieve great success. Discipline and safety policies and parent involvement were also considered. In 1998, Fairbrook officially dedicated the field or the land lab behind the school as Fox Run Park, and that's where we run our Fairbrook Foxtrot. That park became a park officially then. In 1999, the second addition to the Fairbrook building was built, and we received the art room, what we know as our art room, our INC, and our intervention room. The Watts Computer Lab and the music room were also added. President Bush and President Clinton were presidents in the 1990s. Operation Desert Storm occurred. The cell phones were small enough that people could carry them with them. When we were little and growing up, we didn't have cell phones. So now that we have cell phones, they finally invented those and we were able to carry those around. The internet was invented and everyone began using email. Major League Soccer made its debut in the United States, which we now know how big soccer is here in Beaver Creek. Popular toys included Nintendo, Game Boy, Barbie Dreamhouse, Hot Wheels, and anything Nerf related. Bon Jovi, Aerosmith, Mariah Carey, Paula Abdul, Garth Brooks, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC were also popular musicians at the time. So some of you may have heard that music before. Let's see what our 4th grade has in store for us. We have one last treat, so everybody needs to get quiet so you can listen. 2, 3. Let's be that good audience that we always talk about, okay? So this is 2000 to the present I'm going to talk about. So this includes you guys. So listen up. Mrs. Linda Beaver continued to be principal until 2004, followed by Mr. Darren Schwederman. Is Mr. Schwederman still here? He had to take off? Okay. He was here just a minute ago. And Mrs. Terry No until I came along 6 years ago. Fairbrook received the National School of Character Award in 2007 for its character education program and received numerous state report card excellent ratings over that span of time as well. In 2010, the office area that we know today as our office, including the front entry, was redone, and that's how it looks now today. And in 2015 and 16, our primary playground was added so that our kindergarten students could go out there and play and have equipment that fit their size. Other happenings in the United States: Bill Clinton, George Bush, and Barack Obama were presidents in the early 2000s, and you all know that Donald Trump is our current president. The invention of the smartphone revolutionized technology as we know it, and you now have your own personal computer you can hold in your hand, otherwise known as your cell phone. September 11th, 2001 is a day that reminded all of us to be proud of the American, of the United States, and to be an American. Popular musicians were R.E.M., Britney Spears, Pink, Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Green Day, and fashion trends are anything that goes. Come on out, kindergarten, show us what you got. today. So let's talk about, Fairbrook is proud to have had many former students serve as their current teachers and staff members. So as I call your name, wave around so kids know who you are for sure. Mrs. Brenner went to Fairbrook. Mrs. Case went to Fairbrook as a student. Mrs. DiMuccio, who isn't here today, but she was a student here. Mrs. Ferguson, where's Mrs. There she was. Mrs. Hergenrather. Ms. Main, she's at the back there, and Ms. Youngs, who isn't here this afternoon as well. All right, and then I wanted to point out we have Mr. Enix and Mr. Otten. If you guys will wait, there are current superintendent and assistant superintendent. So let's give them a round of applause. They work hard for it. Thanks for coming. All righty, many of you have parents who also attended Fairbrook here at our school, and if you know that your parent was a student here at Fairbrook when they were little kids, I'd like you to raise your hand. Let's see how many of you have parents that attended Fairbrook. Awesome. All right. So you guys get to attend your second generation. That's awesome. I want to say thank you to everybody for helping to make Fairbrook a great place to live and learn. And it just wouldn't be Fairbrook if we didn't sing, at our birthday, if we didn't sing happy birthday. So on 3, we're going to sing happy birthday. 1, 2.